I'm going to be re-ranking every team's performance in the 2024 NFL Draft. Back in April, I put out my initial rankings video, and now it's time to come back and evaluate how accurate I was and how well these rookie classes have performed so far. For this video, we're just going to be considering guys that were actually drafted, so no undrafted players will be discussed. We're starting at the top this time. Number 1, the Washington Commanders are staying in this spot. Their first round pick, Jayden Daniels, played as advertised and was a big reason for them going from second worst in the league to second best in the NFC. That's how quickly things can change when you make the right picks. Daniels' dual threat skill set has completely opened up Washington's playbook and has made their offense one of the toughest ones to game plan for. They now have a franchise QB that will keep them in the title picture for the next decade. Daniels is the main reason why Washington lands at number 1, but they also did a great job finding value on day 2. Johnny Newton was seen as a day 1 level talent, and they were able to scoop him up at pick 36. Newton put up 11 hurries, 2 sacks, and 18 run stops in 500 snaps, and will have an increasingly bigger role in the defense over the coming years. Mike Sainristil was their most reliable cornerback and a leader in their secondary. He had a big 2-interception game against the Lions in the playoffs. They also picked Ben Sinnott, who has a complete skill set and will be a good replacement for Ertz once the time comes. Overall, Washington got the best player in the draft and added a reliable cornerback, as well as an interior rusher and tight end who both have high potential. They got immediate returns and changed the outlook of their whole franchise. Speaking of immediate returns, the Eagles land at number 2. They added quality prospects in all 3 days of the draft, but their class is highlighted by their 2 stud corners, Quignon and Coupe de Jean. Keep in mind they used picks number 22 and 40 to get these 2 guys. Quignon stepped in and was immediately a shutdown cornerback on the outside, not allowing a touchdown pass in coverage until week 16. On top of that, he allowed only 58% of passes to his coverage to be caught and allowed only 61 yards after the catch in the regular season, tied for the lowest mark amongst all corners. He allowed very little separation and didn't miss many tackles. Cooper DeJean was also a big-time playmaker for Philly. He finished the regular season as the 3rd highest graded corner on PFF. He allowed 0 touchdowns in coverage and was elite in minimizing yardage just like Quignon. DeJean allowed only 7.2 yards per reception, the 2nd lowest mark in the league, and he was also an elite run defender from the slot position. On top of the 2 corners, Philly also added Jalix Hunt, who contributed in the Super Bowl with half a sack, a QB hit, and multiple pressures. Will Shipley, who contributed on special teams, and Johnny Wilson, who struggled as a rookie but still has a lot of upside and was a great find in the 6th round. Overall, Philly made the most out of all their picks and added immediate star players to their roster. At number 3, the second biggest upwards mover in this video, the LA Rams coming up all the way from the number 17 spot. LA got the best value pick of the draft, picking elite edge rusher Jared Verse at number 19. He's up there with Daniels and Bowers as one of the most impactful rookies in the class. As a prospect, Verse was the most complete edge in terms of production against the run and pass, and he continued that in the league. He was tied for the 10th most run stops and 2nd most hurries in the regular season. He also added 2 sacks in 2 playoff games. He cemented himself as a cornerstone of this Rams defense. On day 2, they paid a hefty price to move up 13 slots in the 2nd round and get Braden Fisk. They sent their 2024 and 2025 second round picks to Carolina, and that was part of the reason why I had them so low in the initial ranking. But Fisk showed plus pass rushing ability as a rookie, finishing with 9 sacks and 40 hurries, which was tied for 3rd most amongst interior defenders. He struggled at times as a run defender and had the 7th highest missed tackle percentage. LA also added Cam Kitchens at safety, who was productive for them as a rookie, and 6th round receiver Jordan Whittington, who showed promise in limited snaps. Overall, the Rams got multiple starters and a franchise player at a key position. Next, we got the Chargers sliding up 1 spot. Talent-wise, their class could easily be considered in the top 2. Joe Alt was the highest graded rookie offensive tackle, and he allowed only 13 hurries, tied for the 9th lowest in the league. Their best pick, however, was Ladd McConkey. He somehow snuck into the 2nd round after being passed on by the Chiefs, Niners, Panthers, and the Bills. Ladd put up elite numbers as a rookie, finishing with the 5th highest reception percentage, 9th most receiving yards, and 12th most yards per reception. He cemented himself as wide receiver 1 for the Chargers and proved that he should have gone higher in the draft. LA also added corners Tarheeb Still and Cam Hart in the 5th round. Both guys got a lot of playing time as rookies, and Still in particular was a big part of LA's defensive success, as he had 4 interceptions and allowed the 23rd lowest passer rating. Overall, LA was able to get incredible value and added a key starter on each day of the draft. Number 5, the Giants, a big leap up from 14. Their group is highlighted by superstar wide receiver Malik Nabers, who proved himself to be the most dynamic playmaking rookie. He was immediately the focal point of the Giants' offense, registering 165 targets in 15 games. Malik had the 7th most receiving yards and added 7 touchdowns. He's going to continue to put up numbers, and he's going to make things a lot easier for whoever their next QB is. They also got solid production from 2nd round safety Tyler Nubin and 3rd round corner Andrew Phillips. Phillips finished tied for 3rd most run stops amongst corners and allowed under 400 yards in coverage and only 1 touchdown. Overall, the Giants added an elite playmaker at wide receiver and some solid starters in the secondary. Next, we got the Bucs. Even though their 1st round pick had a rough season, they still land at number 6. Grant Barton finished in the top 5 for most hurries allowed among centers and had the most penalties with 13. I still think he'll bounce back and become a plus starter for Tampa. He's an elite athlete and has all the traits to succeed in the league. On the good side, Bucky Irving helped mask the failures of Barton by putting up a top 5 running back season. Irving had over 1,100 yards on 207 attempts. He had the 4th highest yards per attempt and the most yards after contact per attempt in the entire league by over half a yard. Getting him in the 4th round was insane value. 3rd round safety Tyke Smith was also a reliable defender in the back end. 2nd round edge Chris Braswell had flashes, as well as 3rd round receiver Jalen McMillan. Overall, Tampa added a superstar running back as well as some solid starters on both sides of the ball. At number 7, the Steelers, they did a great job of rebuilding their offensive line and finding value on all 3 days of the draft. 1st round pick Troy Fautanu is an elite athlete, great feet, and a good anchor, but unfortunately missed most of 2024. I do expect him to be a key contributor next season. 2nd round pick Zach Frazier did an excellent job at center, allowing only 1 sack and 9 hurries all season, and finished as the 6th best center per PFF. 4th rounder Mason McCormick also got plenty of snaps for Pittsburgh and was pretty decent. On the defensive side, 3rd round linebacker Peyton Wilson was a contributor even in limited snaps. He allowed the 5th lowest passer rating into his coverage and added 24 run stops. Overall, Pittsburgh addressed their offensive line and did it without overdrafting guys. They didn't get any star players, but they got a bunch of immediate contributors. At number 8, the 49ers, even while picking in the back end of each round, they were still able to make the most of their picks. 1st rounder Ricky Pearsall was a surprise selection at first. Not seen as the best receiver on the board. However, he got into a rhythm near the end of the season and really started looking like a reliable target. With Debo on the way out, Ricky will likely get even more touches next season and continue to put up good numbers. San Fran really did well in days 2 and 3 though. On day 2, they added Renardo Green and Dominic Pooney. Green played over 600 snaps this year and looked solid. He allowed a 92.1 pass rating and had 9 pass breakups. He seems like he's prepared to take over the load of free agent Charvarius Ward next year. Pooney was the real standout of the class. He stepped in as the starting guard and immediately made an impact. He was graded as the 6th best run blocking guard in the league. He did allow 32 hurries, but also 0 QB hits. He proved himself as a starter on the line. On day 3, the Niners added Isaac Guerrero, who played well when given the opportunity, and safety Malik Mustafa, who provided a physical presence in the back end of their defense and was also reliable in coverage. Overall, they got a bunch of contributors who impressed as rookies and guys who are going to step into even bigger roles next season. Las Vegas at number 9. In the original ranking, I overemphasized performance on days 2 and 3 because when you get a guy like Brock Bowers, your draft performance should immediately be in the top 10. Bowers is already a superstar for Vegas and has 1 tight end receiving title under his belt. He'll be a cornerstone of their team for the next decade. The Raiders' draft class overall is pretty top heavy though. They didn't get great contribution from any of their other rookies. 2nd round pick Jackson Powers Johnson was solid. 3rd round pick DJ Glaze was a reach at the time of the draft and ended up in the top 3 for both QB hits allowed and hurries allowed. Overall, the Raiders move up on this list because of how dominant Brock Bowers was, but the rest of their picks were pretty underwhelming. Rounding out the top 10, the Indianapolis Colts. Their first 2 picks looked like amazing value, but both players had slow starts to their rookie seasons. 1st rounder Leatu Latu only logged 618 snaps, but he still had 4 sacks and 25 QB hits. I think we'll see more of an impact from him in year 2. 2nd rounder Adonai Mitchell only put up 312 yards and had 0 touchdowns. It's hard to believe that a guy with his size, athleticism, and ball skills won't succeed, but his rookie year was really rough. We'll give him another year before going too hard on him. Indy did get solid production from 4th round center Tanner Bortolini and 5th round safety / linebacker Jalen Carlise. There's plenty of potential with all these guys. We'll see if they can take the next step in 2025. Next at number 11, we got the Broncos. They picked Bo Nix at 12, and he delivered in his rookie season, putting up over 4,000 yards and helping guide the Broncos to the playoffs. Not many QBs come in and have immediate success as rookies, but Nix did. The team did well to surround him with a strong offensive line and give him an elite play caller. Now the question is, will he be good enough to win in the playoffs? Can he beat Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Burrow, those types of guys? Ultimately, that's what he's going to need to do, or else the Broncos will just be stuck as a borderline playoff team looking for answers. Denver also got good production from 7th round receiver Devon Vele, who produced 475 yards and 3 touchdowns. Estime, Troy Franklin, and Dondre Tillman also contributed in small sample sizes. Overall, Bo Nix's strong rookie season helped propel this class to the number 11 spot, but we'll see if he can prove himself to be a real difference maker. The Packers go up 1 spot to number 12. 1st round pick Jordan Morgan was a bit of an underwhelming selection and didn't play much in his first year. However, 2nd round pick Edge Cooper came in and showed that he's that guy. 4 sacks, 35 run stops, and an interception on less than 500 snaps. Zach Bond had 4 sacks, 69 run stops, and an interception on 938 snaps, and he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Cooper graded as the 4th best linebacker per PFF. Green Bay also got good production from 4th round safety Evan Williams, who allowed the 8th lowest reception percentage on his targets. Javon Bullard struggled a bit, but gained a lot of experience in his rookie season. Overall, Green Bay added a stud linebacker as well as a couple decent safeties, but it's still yet to be seen how productive Jordan Morgan can be, and there was a lot of great prospects that they passed on. in order to pick him. Next, we got the Ravens. Nate Wiggins was a top cornerback prospect and arguably the best player on the board at pick 30. Wiggins may be thin, but he's still stout in coverage. He allowed the 5th lowest reception percentage in the league and the 5th lowest passer rating. He gave up 0 touchdowns in coverage in the regular season. He's legit and will continue to be a plus starter for Baltimore. Now to second round pick Roger Rosengarten. The Ravens needed a tackle and they went out and got one. Rosengarten's not the most impressive guy on film, but he was solid enough as a rookie to survive, and having Lamar as your quarterback always makes things a little easier. None of their other rookies had over 60 snaps in 2024. I'd be interested to see what Devontae Walker could do for them in their offense. He was a great deep threat in college, but just didn't get a lot of playtime in 2024. Overall, Baltimore added a quality starter in Wiggins as well as some help on the offensive line, but didn't really get much production besides their top 2 picks, and also didn't add any immediate weapons for Lamar. Number 14, the Jaguars, the highest movers in this video. Brian Thomas was my favorite pick of the first round, and they got him after trading down. In my original ranking, I focused too much on their later day 2 and day 3 picks, so I'm fixing things and putting them at the right spot, number 14 right now. But yeah, they had some questionable selections. Mason Smith at pick 48 was definitely a surprise. The college film and production, I felt, just didn't warrant that high of a selection, and it looks extra rough considering some of the guys that went shortly after, like Sainer Still, Zach Frazier, Michael Hall. Smith had a rough rookie season and limited snaps. We'll see if he can improve next year. Jerry Jones in the 3rd was also somewhat unexpected. He's as tough as they come, but doesn't have ideal size, length, or technique. 4th rounder Jordan Jefferson was a decent pick and should provide quality depth moving forward. Overall, Jacksonville had an excellent day 1, but went off track on days 2 and 3. Number 15, the Texans. They didn't have a first-round pick, but still found a way to get impact players. Kamari Lassiter at number 42 was crazy good value. Lassiter allowed the 3rd lowest reception percentage as well as the 9th lowest passer rating in the entire league. He's already one of the better corners in the NFL, and the Texans now have an elite corner duo with him and Stingley. 3rd round safety Kalen Bullock had 5 interceptions and gave up the 3rd lowest passer rating among safeties. He's not the best tackler, but he makes up for it with his ball skills. On the negative side, 2nd round tackle Blake Fisher struggled on the line, allowing Stroud to get hit 12 times on only 219 pass blocking snaps. Overall, Houston got great value on day 2 and added some playmakers in their secondary. Next, we got the Jets. They had a solid draft, getting Fashanu in the 1st. He's already a great pass protector and seems like he's the long-term answer at left tackle. It's unfortunate that he got injured midway during his rookie season. 3rd rounder Malachi Corley has a pretty raw skill set, but has value as a gadget player. We'll see if they can get him the ball more next year. Braylon Allen was a good value pick in the 4th. He didn't have the best rookie season and only broke 10 tackles on 92 attempts, even with his big size, but did show flashes, and he's only 21. Overall, the Jets didn't do anything too special, but improved their offensive line and added some skill players with potential. Number 17, the Titans. The reason for their move up is because of T'Vondre Sweat. At the time of the draft, I thought they overdrafted him considering he had some off-the-field issues and he played at over 365 pounds. But as a rookie, he managed his weight well and played at a high level. He put up 19 hurries as well as 24 run stops. He was consistently clogging up holes and making things difficult for the opposition, and he was one of the better defensive rookies overall. First rounder J.C. Latham had some struggles, especially in pass protection, but also had plenty of positive moments, and I think it's too early to lose hope in him. Still think he was slightly overdrafted, and the Titans could have added a star talent at pick number 7. Overall, Tennessee beefed up their trenches with their first 2 picks, but their class is underwhelming considering they picked in the top 7 and really didn't get a lot of production from most of their rookies. Next, we got the Patriots. Let's look at the positives first. Drake May at number 3, amazing value. They were lucky enough that this class was so stacked that a guy like May could fall to number 3, and they also added Joe Milton in the 6th. He's got some really intriguing traits and put on a show in his only start. New England's QB room is in a good spot. The rest of their draft, though, was pretty rough. Overdrafting Jalen Polk at 37 looked bad at first, and now it looks even worse considering T'Vondre Sweat, Cooper DeJean, and Kamari Lassiter went shortly after. New England took 2 swings at receiver with Polk and Javon Baker, and neither guy proved himself to be a reliable target for Drake May. Caden Wallace seemed like a good selection in round 3, but unfortunately got injured before he could really get going. 4th round guard Layden Robinson got plenty of snaps, but mainly struggled. Overall, New England greatly improved their QB room, but reached for positional needs and struggled to find value with their other picks. Number 19, the Falcons. Before everyone knew how cooked Captain Kirk was, the Michael Penix at number 8 pick was considered highly questionable, but now it makes a lot more sense. Penix is definitely an upgrade over Desmond Ridder and 2024 Cousins. He has a great arm and is a sniper down the field. He can possibly be a quality starter for them. However, he doesn't offer much with his mobility, and his downfield attacking style can lead to a decent number of misses. Atlanta does have strong offensive personnel, so at this point, they might not even need an elite QB to be a contender. Penix might be enough, and based on that, this very well could be a great pick. Falcons spent the rest of the draft trying to fix their defensive line, which has been a weakness for the past decade. 2nd round pick Rook out of Clemson was one of the most surprising selections of the entire draft, and didn't have that good of a season in his first year in the league. Overall, Atlanta focused way too hard on positional needs and missed out on value in this draft, but they finally got a QB that's at least average, likely above average. Number 20, the Bengals. First round pick Amarius Mims has a rare size athleticism combo, so even though his technique was raw coming out of college, picking him in the first round made sense. He's still a work in progress, but there is hope for him to become a franchise tackle. He wasn't great as a rookie, but not terrible. Second rounder Chris Jenkins played at a similar level. He's got great technique, but not the most physically gifted interior lineman. He probably needs a year or two to adjust to the league. Jermaine Burton and Josh Newton could become bigger contributors next season, and I think they were good picks in the 3rd and 5th rounds. Overall, Cincy found solid players on each day of the draft, but none of them stood out as rookies, and Cincy didn't really get a boost from any of them. Next, at number 21, the Saints. A big reason for their drop is Spencer Rattler struggling as a rookie. He was seen as great value in the 5th round, but after last season, it's hard to imagine him getting any more chances. First round pick Talise Fuaga had ups and downs, but still showed that he can be a people mover in the run game and a solid pass protector. Similarly, Kool-Aid McKinstry had good games and some rough ones. None of their other picks really got much game time. Overall, the Saints addressed positional needs, got solid production, and didn't really overdraft anyone. Next, at number 22, the Chicago Bears. Imagine if they went with LSU teammates Jaden Daniels and Brian Thomas. With their defense, they very well could have been neck and neck with Philly for the NFC. But alas, Caleb and Rome Odunze were selected, 2 massive investments into the offense, and the Bears ended the season with the lowest number of total yards in the entire league. Considering the draft capital they had, they really should have seen more immediate return on investment. I still have belief in Odunze, and Caleb should be able to execute Ben Johnson's offense, but the Bears made some poor decisions and set their team back at least a year from what we've seen. They also didn't get much production from the rest of their picks. Overall, they got good players in the draft, but failed to get immediate stars with their 2 top 10 picks, and didn't really improve their offense. Number 23, the Chiefs. They needed wide receiver and offensive line help, so they addressed those 2 needs with their first 2 picks. The Worthy selection has helped bring some speed to their offense, but they still finished in the bottom half of the league in explosive plays. Worthy's lack of a route tree makes him somewhat predictable and less of a threat than you think he would be on paper. A more skilled route runner like Ladd McConkey might have provided a bigger boost to their offense. You always have to question a pick when it's not the best player on the board, and also not the best player at the position on the board. Second round pick Kingsley Suamataia struggled in a small sample size, but we'll see how he progresses. Casey's best pick was 4th round safety Jaden Hicks, who was reliable in all phases and seems like he could help them move past Justin Reed, who's now a free agent. Overall, Casey didn't give their receiver room what it needed with their top pick, but did do a good job of finding value later in the draft. Next, the biggest fallers in the entire video, the Detroit Lions going down 18 spots. As far as positives go, 6th round guard Christian Mahogany looked excellent in a small sample size, allowed only 1 QB hit, 0 hurries, 0 sacks, and looked good as a run blocker in 75 total snaps. On the negative side, Tyrion Arnold in the first, he was seen as a good cultural fit, super tough player at corner. However, picking him over Wiggins and DeJean was highly questionable. Both guys had a better coverage tape in college and immediately made impacts in the league. Arnold was picked on a lot in coverage and failed to stand out as a rookie. He allowed over 700 yards, allowed 4 touchdowns, and had 0 picks. Unfortunately, most of Detroit's selections didn't get many snaps, mainly due to injuries. Overall, they missed out on adding an immediate contributor in the first. On paper, they got some decent value with their other picks. Most of them unfortunately got injured, like I said, so it's hard to evaluate them, but we should get a clearer picture by next year. At number 25, the Dolphins moving up from the bottom. Chop Robinson seemed like more of a situational rusher to me coming out of college, and he's still not a big factor against the run, but you can't argue against the immediate production he had as a rookie. He led all first-year edge players in sacks and had 42 hurries, the 12th most in the league. If he can continue to be a productive pass rusher, then this very well could be a solid pick, but I'm not sure if a finesse rusher is what Miami needed. It doesn't help them with their toughness issue and doesn't help them win in the trenches against better teams. They ended up scrambling to get Patrick Paul in the second round. He struggled a good bit as a rookie. I like how they got Jalen Wright and Malik Washington, 2 good skill guys later on in the draft. Overall, Miami got some solid players but failed to improve their trenches and really didn't change the outlook of their team. Number 26, the Panthers. Xavier Leggett was an intriguing prospect coming out of South Carolina. 220 pounds with great explosiveness scores from his physical testing. He had good moments as a rookie, looked fast with the ball in his hands, but his performance was underwhelming overall. He played through a wrist injury, which might have been the cause of it, but if he can't consistently win 50-50 balls downfield, then it'll be tough for the coaches to keep giving him a lot of minutes. Second round pick Jonathan Brooks looked great in limited action, but unfortunately because of another torn ACL, he'll likely be on the bench for the entire 2025 season. Carolina did well to fleece the Rams for a 2025 second-round pick, which I mentioned earlier, by trading the 39th pick in this draft. Fourth-round pick Jatavian Sanders has been a decent receiving threat, but still needs to develop a more complete skill set. Overall, the Panthers' rookie class mainly struggled. They do have some high-potential guys, but there's reason to be worried. Luckily, Jalen Coker has been pretty good. At number 27, the Vikings, they decided to go all in and trade up so that they could have 2 first-round selections. J.J. McCarthy at pick 10 was bold for sure, and considering some of his red flags as a prospect, it's reasonable to question the selection. Dallas Turner was a good pick at 17 and should continue to get better and transform into a plus starter. They didn't get much production from their day 3 picks. Overall, Minnesota went all in on a QB and athletic edge, but I'm not sure if it'll be enough to make them legit playoff contenders, and instead I could see them just becoming a perennial wildcard team. Next, the Seahawks. First round pick Byron Murphy. He's got impressive quickness for a big man, and it flashes on tape, but he's just not the most consistent player, not overpowering, and just struggles to get production even with his unique skill set. He had 1 sack and 20 hurries as a rookie. 4th round linebacker Tyrese Knight held up and was solid in 550 snaps, as well as 4th round tight end AJ Barner in 502 snaps. The rest of their class didn't see much action and didn't look great in their small sample sizes. Overall, Seattle got some decent depth, but didn't get much in terms of future star power. Number 29, the Cardinals, moving down 3 spots. They had 2 first-round picks, 10 in total, and still didn't get much from their rookies. Marvin Harrison still has a ton of potential, but his first season was really underwhelming. Under 900 yards in 17 games while being the number 1 wide receiver with a solid QB. His lack of juice after the catch is truly alarming. He had the 10th lowest yards after catch per reception. Considering how Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas immediately became big play threats, this Harrison pick is looking kind of rough at this point. We'll see if Marvin and Kyler can clean up their connection next season. Darius Robinson at 27 was a big-time surprise. Great physical build, but lacks top-level athleticism, and that limits his overall ceiling. As a rookie, he really didn't have much success. 4th-round safety Dadrian Taylor Demerson was serviceable in limited snaps, but besides that, most of their picks didn't do much as rookies. With the amount of draft capital Arizona had, they had a really underwhelming return. At number 30, the Cleveland Browns, they entered the draft with the least amount of capital, as their first pick was at number 54. Michael Hall was good value in the second round, a disruptive guy on the inside. Due to injuries, he didn't play much in his rookie season. Third rounder Zach Zinter also didn't play much, but struggled when he did, allowing 3 sacks and 6 hurries on 149 pass blocking snaps. No rookie on the Browns played more than 233 snaps. Overall, they didn't have much draft capital, but also failed to find any contributors. Next, at number 31, the Buffalo Bills. They, similarly like the Chiefs, locked in on a specific type of receiver profile that they thought they needed, a big outside X receiver in Keon Coleman. But the most important thing a receiver can do is get open, and that's just not Coleman's game. He's mainly a contested catch guy. Because of that, he had the lowest reception percentage amongst the top 5 Bills receivers at 51.8%. Khalil Shakir, for reference, was at 80%. On almost double the targets. Second round safety Cole Bishop also struggled, finishing in the top 5 in missed tackle percentage, and he also had minimal ball production. The lone positive was probably Ray Davis. The 4th round running back was solid in a small sample size. He was in the top 30 for yards after contact per attempt and did some good work as a receiver as well. Overall, Buffalo locked in too much on their positional needs and didn't get great value, especially in the second round. And finally, the Cowboys, at pick number 29, they locked in on a positional need. Offensive tackles were running out, and they decided to go and get Tyler Guyton. Instead of going best player on the board, Tyler was raw coming in as a prospect, plus athlete, but the tape just wasn't that great. As a rookie, he wasn't overly impressive, allowed 6 sacks and 14 hurries on 666 snaps, while also being graded as the 3rd worst overall tackle per PFF. 3rd round guard Cooper Beebe was solid in the snaps he played, but besides that, this class failed to really make any impact, and it just lacks high potential talent. This kind of draft performance is what causes teams to fall behind in their division, like how Dallas has fallen behind the Commanders. So those are my thoughts on each team's performance in the 2024 NFL Draft. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe if you like the content. Thanks for watching, and I'm out.